Welcome to the Online Success Journey Podcast, your opportunity to discover and learn from entrepreneurs like yourself. This is not your typical podcast, but a place where you can get the real story and find out how real people encounter speed bumps and detours, but journey through to find success. Now here's your host for the Online Success Journey Podcast, Patience.
The Online Success Journey continues with episode 361. Every guest shares the path that took them to success. So you'll want to subscribe right now and ensure you'll never miss a journey. I post one journey each week and I would love for you to join me. Joining us today is Kamini Wood, author, the founder and the CEO of Live Joy Your Way and the AuthenticMe. She aims to meet her clients where they are, supporting and guiding them on their journey to where they want to be, both personally and professionally. Hello, Kamini.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. I know my audience are excited to hear your story. Just start by telling us one thing we are going to learn from you today that will help us on our journey to success.
I think that your listeners are going to learn about how limiting beliefs and releasing our limiting beliefs can lead us to the success that we truly want.
Wow, I can't wait to hear more. Let's get started with the basics. Can you tell my audience a little bit about your background, what you did before you started your online business?
Yes. So I actually was a project manager and I worked in the internet world managing, I was a project manager over at Priceline.com. And from there, I ended up running and managing my husband's law practice for about 15 years. In that process, I was introduced to the idea of coaching individuals and helping them figure out what they wanted to do professionally, as well as supporting them personally. So it was that led me to actually starting my online business that I have today.
Why do you do what you do?
So I do what I do each and every day because I truly believe it's a calling, first of all. I believe in the power of individuals and the power of recognizing our own uniqueness. And the reason why is because not only did I learn how to do this professionally, I also went through my own self-transformation and realized that I was holding myself back with the limiting belief that I needed to people please or I needed to be perfect in order to succeed. And when I was able to release those limiting beliefs, I was able to just move forward again, both professionally and personally. So the truth around what I do and why I do it is because I really believe that I was put in the position that I'm in order to help others live into their best self.
Let's put man aside. How do you know you are successful?
I actually have learned to define my success by how I feel. So because I have found a place of joy and fulfillment in what I'm doing, and I know that every day I look forward to the work that I'm doing, I feel successful. I think from a cultural standpoint, success often is defined by either the amount of money you're making or by some arbitrary standard. And what I've really learned is that for me personally, I feel successful when I feel fulfilled.
Tell us the biggest challenges to running a coaching business virtually.
Yeah. Well, there's been several challenges along the way. I'm not going to lie. The very first challenge that I had to meet was my own self-doubt, right? I had to really work on the idea that I needed to maybe train more, or I needed to be better at certain business aspects in order to run my own business. So really getting over self-doubt was the very first hurdle. And then, of course, there are different challenges, especially running a business virtually. Before COVID, most people were a little bit apprehensive about reaching out to a coach virtually. They didn't really know that they could have real transformation unless they met with somebody face to face. So that was another challenge that I had to deal with, was just really allowing people the ability to experience what virtual coaching is and let them really understand and feel for themselves the transformation that they could have merely by either a phone call or Zoom meetings. And again, that was pre-COVID. So maybe COVID in that sense was a slight blessing because people really had to get used to the idea of virtual meetings. But that was definitely a challenge in the beginning for running my business.
Tell my audience about the magic moment, the day it suddenly all went right for you.
The magic moment. I would say that very early on in my coaching business, I had the pleasure of working with an individual who truly resonated with the work. It really struck both him and myself in the sense that so much is possible if we're willing to challenge how we've been seeing the world. And so for me, that was a magic moment because I got to see my client experience an aha moment, but also as a coach, I had an aha moment that it really truly is about the client. It's really truly about their insight and that I don't have to work harder than the client. I just have to provide the space for my client to see their own gifts and have their own insights. And that was a magic moment for me.
As you mentioned that you worked in your husband's farm and then you are already a project manager, I presume that you have met many entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs. But can anyone be an entrepreneur, or are some people more cut out for it than others?
That's a great question. I think that there is an element that an entrepreneur has to be willing to, one, they have to trust themselves. And two, they have to be willing to deal with those moments of self-doubt. And three, it's about, being able to sit in uncomfortability, because as an entrepreneur, it is all on you, right? There's no company giving you the work. You've got to be able to trust yourself, be able to sit with that doubt, perhaps, and be able to sit with the uncomfortability of watching and allowing your business to grow. I don't think that it's that people can't do it. I think it's about choosing to do it and being willing to put that effort in. I personally love to see things grow. I love to create and I love to see them grow. So, working in the internet industry, it was all about building companies from the ground up. Running my husband's firm, it didn't exist. We built it from the ground up. Running my coaching practice, I built it from the ground up. So I personally have that kind of in my DNA. But I also do think that it can be learned. I don't think that you have to either you are or you're not. I think you can absolutely choose to do it.
What are you still doing in the way you work that you just know you have to stop doing?
I need to learn to turn off. I will hold myself accountable. I will I challenge myself to turn the phone off and to turn the email off. I'm going to be honest. Being so dedicated to what I do, and it's like another baby. You don't. It's really hard to turn off from it. I have 5 kids myself, and so you never get to turn off being a mom, right? So it is that I would say that's the one thing that I continue to work on and continue to challenge myself on.
Thank you for sharing. What is the most dangerous belief an entrepreneur can have?
I think the most dangerous belief that an entrepreneur can have is that they are not good enough. When we have that belief that we're not good enough, it is very, very hard to continue to build your business because you have to come to that place of really believing in yourself and trusting in yourself. And if there's this belief that you're not good enough, it is very difficult to continue to move forward.
Do you mind giving us some tips how we can really build ourselves up and remove this bad mindset?
Yeah. So really the very first thing is to become aware of it, right? I always say the doorway to change is awareness. Awareness is absolutely that doorway to change. So you become aware of that doubt. You become aware of that belief, rather. And then it's really challenging what's actually true. And when it comes to the false belief of I'm not good enough, it is really taking into account and saying, well, how am I measuring good enough? Am I measuring it through my accomplishments? Am I measuring it through some external force and factor? Because those do not make you who you are. It's about coming home to self and recognizing that you're already good enough by your mere existence and your mere essence. You're good enough by your values and your your core gifts, that already makes you good enough. And so when you come back home to that and you recognize that as your truth, and you recognize that it's not about just accomplishments or somebody telling you that you did something well, you're able to you're able to ground yourself into your own values and your own beliefs and your own needs. And from that place, you start showing up fully and authentically in your business.
If you could rerun the first year of your business, what would you definitely know to do?
If I could rerun my first year, that's a very interesting question because, a few years ago, I probably would have said, well, I really hope that I had had a better, financial plan, or I had budgeted better or had a different marketing plan. But now, honestly, I think that I needed to experience all that I've experienced in order to get to where I am today. Because with every quote unquote mistake, and I say quote unquote because it's really just maybe an outcome I wasn't happy with, I was able to learn something. And if I didn't go through what I went through the first year and the second year, I wouldn't have continued to grow as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. So, one could always say, well, I really hope that I had a better marketing plan or a better financial plan, for sure. But I also would say all the things that I experienced within my first year and my second year were absolutely necessary as well.
What have you learned from business as a whole?
What I've learned from business as a whole is that the success of the business comes from within, meaning if I somewhat said this and alluded to this before as well, if I feel fulfilled, then the business is a success. If I feel present in my everyday, then the business is a success. And I think running my business has really taught me that, because it is so easy to get caught up in the everyday and the details of running a business. And it really comes down to, do you feel fulfilled? Do you have joy? And that's really important.
What is the most valuable thing you have ever given away?
My time. I do think that that's been a huge valuable thing that I have given to people is I've been very kind with my time, and I don't rush people, and I try to really honor them and respect them. And so I think that that's truly probably the most valuable thing that I've given.
What grounds you?
What grounds me? A couple things. Nature grounds me in general. The other thing that grounds me is motherhood. I've often said that being a mom has been the most humbling experience. My children they're the best mirrors of ways that I continue to maybe need to grow. And so I would say that motherhood also grounds me.
In your business, do you have a coach yourself or a mentor?
I do. I absolutely believe in coaches. I think I often say to people, the best coaches have coaches.
Thank you. What is the most valuable thing your coach has told you?
The most valuable thing that I believe that my coach has told me or taught me or continued to hold space for me on is challenging myself to look for the one right thing. And by that, because when you're running a business, so many things can happen, and it is so easy to get caught up in what's not going right. So each and every day, asking yourself, what's the one right thing, allows you to start building that muscle to continue to scan for what is going well versus only looking at what's not going well.
What is one thing that has contributed to your success?
One thing, wow, that's a tough one because I think so many things contribute. I would say on a personal level, I would say my own resilience has contributed to my success. Well, that's a tough one. It really is a tough one. I would say resilience as well as determination. I think from an outside perspective, support, loving support from family has really contributed to my success.
What is one thing no one knows about you?
One thing no one knows about me. That's a really tough one. I would say, because my kids know so much about me, they tease me about many things. But most people do not know that I am terrified of heights.
Wow. What is the most important question to ask someone who's bought from you?
What's the most important question? I would say there's a couple of questions that I would ask a previous client, but one of the main questions that would, I think, be beneficial is, what did Kamini provide for you in order for you to move forward, either professionally or personally? I think oftentimes we're looking for, or at least the clients that I've worked with are looking for a prescriptive answer. And I think most of my clients would come back and say, Kamini provided the most important thing ever, which was a completely judgment-free space to truly figure out what works for me versus what does not. Because that is I think where the insights happen. So often in life, we feel judged or we feel worried about being judged. We're constantly wearing a mask. And so the one thing that I believe that I've truly given my clients is that space where they don't have to put on any masks and they can just be themselves.
As you mentioned, you are coaching virtually. Many companies have gone coaching virtually. What makes yours special?
What makes me special is the fact that my coaching is 100% client focused, and I also provide, like I mentioned previously, this safe space to have, to unpack whatever is coming up for my clients. So you don't need to be in a physical space for me to provide that. I'm able to do that on the phone, and I'm able to provide that even on Zoom. I actually just recently had somebody tell me who we've only been working together for a month, and she said, Kamini, I had no idea. I was so worried that doing this over the phone wasn't going to be effective. And I have to tell you that this has been the most transformative month that I've had with anybody, because what I do is I am so intent and so active in my listening with my clients that it is almost as if we're in the same room together.
Let's talk about your business. Tell us more about it and how can we join it?
Well, it is a coaching business. I work with individuals on releasing limiting beliefs, on really letting go of the old metrics of how we define success so that they can find their true joy and fulfillment, whether professionally or personally. I am on the web at kaminiwood.com or on Instagram or Facebook with the handle It's Authentic Me.
What is your perfect clientele?
Yeah. So most of my clients that I work with are high performers or overachievers who are really trying to move past this place of stagnation or stuckness, either in their personal relationships or professionally. The quote unquote perfect client, however, is the one who is willing to take a look at what and how they've been showing up and willing to challenge it and ask themselves, what's possible if I give myself permission to look at this differently?
Thank you. There will be more from Kamini in a moment. If you are listening to this on a podcasting platform and you're encouraged by Kamini's journey, please go to our website at onlinesuccessjourney.com. In addition to the amazing free content, you can work direct with me. Check out my course, Success: How to Set Goals and Double Your Productivity, a course for achieving success in work and life, when you visit onlinesuccessjourney.com. The site has a ton of audio clips from hundreds of successful entrepreneur guests' journeys, all there to help you find the path to your own online success journey. Check it out. That's onlinesuccessjourney.com. Now, Kamini, I would love for you to share more with my audience if you're up for it.
Sure.
Thank you. Do you watch movies or read books?
Both.
Not at the same time.
Not at the same time.
Tell us, what is your favorite book that has some relevance to being an entrepreneur?
Okay, well, this is a great question. I actually love this question. My favorite movies are more the suspense movies. So I'm a big James Bond fan. However, from a book perspective, I read a lot of books that help in personal development and growth. I really enjoy reading books of that nature and genre. So it's very interesting that from a movie perspective, I'll go with more of the suspense and storytelling. And then with books, I like to read a little more meat, if you will, in terms of personal development. I've read so many good books, but I would say Mastery is one of my favorite books. That book it's a very easy read in terms of it doesn't take a whole lot of time, but it allows for some room to look and evaluate how you as an individual are showing up. And I would say that that's definitely had a big impact on me. And then in terms of other books, I really enjoyed Atomic Habits as well, just because that is a book for an entrepreneur to just help look at what habits you are setting for yourself and how to maybe shift them into more beneficial habits.
If your business was down to its last $100, how would you invest it?
Self-growth, probably. Because if it was down to my last $100, I'd want to invest in myself and figure out the next way and next evolution of how I want to grow.
If you are going to keep a note to yourself in your handbag every day, what would be written on it?
Well, I actually have a note in my handbag that has a couple things written on it. So I guess I'll just pick one of them, which is I am good enough.
What is your next chapter?
Oh, my next chapter. Well, personally, my next chapter is watching my children become their own adults. My oldest two are actually technically adults at this point. My oldest one's turning 21 and my second oldest is 18. So that's my personal next chapter, is watching my kids go off to their next chapters. But professionally, my next chapter, it still includes running my coaching business, but I'm hoping to expand and continue to serve people as deeply as I possibly can. And it might include offering more speaking engagements, as well as potentially just offering different types of courses rather than just the one-to-one coaching.
Do you feel like you succeeded or like you're only on the way?
I still feel like I'm on the way because I believe in continuing to grow and evolve. Caveat to that is I do believe that I have experienced success. So I don't think that what I've done has not been successful. I just feel like I'm continuing to grow.
Will you ever stop?
I'm my mother's daughter, and considering she's still working, I'm going to say no.
Remind us how we can connect with you.
I am found on the web at KaminiWood.com or on Facebook or Instagram with the handle It's Authentic Me.
Kamini, it's been great to have you here to share your online journey success with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. Remember, success is a journey. Don't wait. Let's start the journey. Patience and Kamini.
This is not the end of the journey. We hope you've enjoyed listening to Patience and her guest, and want you to know that there are hundreds of episodes available at onlinesuccessjourney.com. Patience would like to thank you for listening to the podcast, and she has a free gift for you on her website, including an audio compilation of her guests' best tips, uplifting stories, and even a bit of fun. Additionally, there are special clips of over 250 episodes that have never aired on the podcast and are only available to members of the Online Success Journey. Check the website and click on Join Now to get free and instant access. Of course, you know that listening to the journeys of others helps us each chart our own path. So make sure you're subscribed on the favorite platform you have to be notified as each new interview is posted. There are so many ways to stay connected to the Online Success Journey and listen in. And if you're enjoying the podcast, we appreciate your help in telling others. One of the best ways to share the benefit you get is to rate and review the podcast at Apple Podcasts and other sites. We appreciate your help and your willingness to share the journey. One last thing. If you're feeling a bit lost or overwhelmed on your own journey, Patience can help. Check out our coaching sessions on how to set goals and double your productivity while you're at the website. Working with patience is a great way to get back on the right path. On behalf of Patience, and until next time, thanks once more for listening. It is our hope that this podcast will guide you on your own online success journey.